welcome back to The Best Version of Me, where we inspire you to be the best version of yourself. I'm Daniel Hernandez, along with my co-host Edgar Miranda. You are in for a special treat today. We have somebody that is going to move, touch, and inspire you to be the best version of yourself. Edgar, go ahead and introduce us to our special guest today.
Super excited to bring on the next person. And let me tell you, this next person is a person that you want to literally grab a notebook, grab a pen, take some notes, because in the market that we're in right now, this is a person that I wish I would have listened to, let's just call it in 2008 or even in 2001 or any other downturn market recession, because this next person that I'm about to bring on has been in the real estate industry for over 25 years.
How long?
25 years. And you know that in 25 years, this industry is going to literally endorse you or expose you.
That's right.
And he hasn't been exposed. He's been endorsed every single year. Why? Because of his commitment, his unreasonable ways of being. And I'm going to share that with you in just a bit. But I got to tell you this. Not only has he been in the business for over 25 years, he has an office. Actually, he has 3 offices, over 300 agents, has closed over $400 million in flips personally with his wife. And what I love more about this guy is that he's a fun guy. He's always doing fun activities with his offices, and I follow him on social media. And I actually met him in the nightclub business, and he'll probably tell you the story about that 20 years ago. But most importantly, he's a family man. And what I know about this guy is he has a heart of gold. He's always bringing these big people to his events, from Grant Cardone to Ed Milet to Tarek to, the list just goes on and on. Tim Story. He's co-hosted on stage with thousands of people. But without further ado, I'm super excited to bring on Christian Fuentes from ReMax Top Producers.
Woo! Really, thank you for having me.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Pleasure.
Thank you for that intro, man. Wow.
Yes. You gotta, they say that with great power comes great responsibility, and you have so much responsibility because you're a powerful man in what you do. And the fact that you've been in this industry for 25 years, that says a lot about you, because I gotta take my hats off. People won't even make it in this industry in 6 months.
Or any industry, right? 25 years,
Yeah.
That's a long time.
Long time.
Yeah. And then with your wife.
Yeah.
I mean, power couple.
Thank you.
So my wife and I really look up to you guys, and in fact, you've been mentoring my wife in the real estate also, and she always speaks very highly of you. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Awesome. So let's kind of talk about the background of Christian Fuentes, right? Where were you born at, and how was your story growing up?
Yeah, so I was born in Mexico, Mexico City. Came to the U.S. when I was 12 years old. My dad used to work for Avon. You guys know Avon?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, the multi-level marketing company.
That's right.
Right. So
In Mexico?
In Mexico, he was a district manager or a director manager, and then he got asked to move to L.A., East L.A. In the area. Avon was trying to go after the Hispanic community with recruiting more sales reps. And yeah, we came to the United States when I was 12. No English.
Zero English.
Zero English, yeah. I had.
So when you were younger, hearing that you're going to come over here to the United States, East LA, did you have any knowledge? Were you looking forward to it? Did you see any movies, or what was your whole mindset? Because 12 years old, you're already aware of certain things.
You know, it was exciting coming to the U.S. because, my dad loved the United States. Always grew up thinking best country ever, right? We were excited. 2 things. One, my mom, my dad was divorced, so we came with my dad and my stepmom. So leaving my mom behind was hard. And then 2, once we got here, we didn't move to East LA. We actually moved to Roland Heights, right? Everybody was white, not a lot of Latinos there. So it was shocking to come into a new country. Culture shock. And then, you hear people talk about this. I don't share too much, but, I was a wetback. I was the beaner that came to the U.S., no English. And, I was made fun of, bullied coming to the United States.
Yeah, and 12 years old, that's a tough age. That's right when The
right?
puberty kicks in, so.
Right.
And you're still being shaped and molded mentally,
Yeah.
emotionally, right?
So
Figuring out who you are.
Sixth grade, I was ending sixth grade, came here, and I remember I was placed on, ESL.
ESL.
And I was with, and it was kind of like a class mixed with special needs with ESL. Maybe they didn't have funding for it, so I was like, this is weird.
English as a second language.
Yeah.
ESL.
Yeah. So that was the beginning for me, right? We moved to Diamond Bar, and sure enough, it's even more white. So no one speaks Spanish.
It went from white to bright white.
White to bright white, and so it was the transition. And a lot of people don't know this, but of course, I'm starting to learn English, but I had a very thick accent. I still have an accent now, right? But I had a horrible accent. So then I remember kids were always making fun of me. To a point in junior high school, I went to Rincon Junior High School, where I remember one time I had to do a speech, and I was so nervous, and I knew they were gonna make fun of me, and I went up in the front of the freaking class, and I'm here talking, doing my speech, and everybody's laughing at me, including the teacher.
You're doing it in English.
In English, of course, because it's English. It's an English class when I'm in seventh grade, and I remember after that I didn't speak for some years. I was very shy, very reserved. I didn't want to speak, so it took some time for me to get out of my shell eventually and start speaking again. But I was not very confident when I was young.
When you were in Mexico in school, were you shy?
No, not very shy. I was actually pretty outgoing. It was more about losing confidence for how I would speak, And I'm sure this because, a lot of Latinos come here and they have big accents and they're afraid of speaking or talking to people or getting a job or, and that was me too. I used to think, who's going to want to work with this Mexican with an accent, right? And here I am now. So, but it took time and a lot of getting uncomfortable and putting myself out there and realizing that, hey, if you have an accent, who cares? Still get your shit done, right? Can't be the excuse. So I went through that. Eventually I got a job in a mall, and that helped me a lot because I used to work at Journeys in the Puente Hills Mall.
Yeah.
I remember that back in those days.
Oh yeah.
Back in those days, I started going out a lot, and I started working out, and I started partying. I think that's when I met Edgar. And then I actually became more of a social, got out of my shell kind of guy. Eventually at 21, I got my job in real estate, and someone gave me a shot to be an assistant. I was working retail at that time, working at a mall, selling shoes, and then my dad told me, hey, you should try real estate. And I was like, well, what's real estate? Like, what is that? And he was like, people that sell houses. And I was like, oh.
And you're 21 at this moment.
I'm like 20.
20.
Right. And then I said, no, I'm good. I was going to college. I was, but junior college, Mount Sac. And I was going
Great
to...
school. I went there 2 semesters.
Did you?
Oh yeah.
I went there one
Parked and walked
semester.
up, yeah.
The party school, right?
Yeah, I got my financial aid, went over there and promoted and, made my connections, and I was gone. Yeah.
Well, I was there 4 years to get a 2-year degree, right? I got my AA. And, I was going to go into possibly Fullerton College or Cal State Fullerton, but right about that time, my dad said, hey, I paid for an appraisal class for you to learn appraisal. And I said, I don't want to learn appraisal. I got a job already. I was like an assistant manager at a shoe store. I got a job at Robert Wayne after Journeys. You know Robert Wayne?
Yeah,
The shoes.
yeah.
So I worked there, and
Doc Martens, right? That was a spot for Doc Martens.
Doc Martens,
Yeah.
we saw all the shoes. I was like the manager there selling West Covina, Montclair, Montebello. Anyways, and my dad said, take this class, and I didn't want to, but he made me take it. Sure enough, it intrigued me about values, because an appraiser, they do values for homes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I happened to have a friend in my class in Mount Sac that was an assistant for a ReMax office.
Mm.
And I asked him, I said, hey, what do you do? And he goes, I'm an assistant. I help agents, all the paperwork, back office stuff. And I remember asking him, can you hook me up with a job? And sure enough, he hooked me up with someone that plugged me with a couple of agents. I got an interview, and then someone hired me as an assistant with no experience at 21, and that's how my career started.
Wow.
So when you were younger, what was your dream to become? Did you have this dream career job?
You know what? When I was young, honestly, brother, I was pretty lost. I really didn't have much direction. I did, in the back of my mind, knew that I wanted to be successful, that I wanted to be wealthy, that I wanted to make a lot of money. I just didn't know how, right? Thank God I got into the real estate business, because my other option back then, I was thinking about going into international business, which I wanted to export and import, products, right? That was my thinking, and I wanted to have my own business. So I was already thinking how to become a business owner back in those days. But when I got introduced to real estate, I could say I got lucky, because I ended up getting hired by a couple, George and Rose Cervantes, who were actually very successful in real estate. They would sell about 60, 70 homes a year, which is pretty good. They were making about $300,000 to $400,000 a year. This is 25 years ago. And I remember when I got that job, being the assistant at minimum wage, I was like, shit, man, this guy drives a Mercedes. She drives a Mercedes. They live in the country in Diamond Bar. They had a mansion, beautiful house, dressed very nice. And I was like, man, you can make a lot of money in real estate. So right there, I was hooked, right? At the same time, even though I was an assistant, I was a quick learner, and I wanted to learn everything about about the back office, right? How do you run the whole process from beginning to end? So I was very curious, and I was asking a lot of questions. And why do you do that? And why do you say that? Why did he cancel? Why did you not get that offer accepted? Even where my boss would tell me, man, you asked a lot of questions. But I was really interested in learning and knowing. And even I remember back in those days, I wanted to be a great assistant. And one thing about me, I think almost every job I had, I always wanted to be a great employee. And I think that's a problem for young people out there right now, is that a lot of young people want things fast, and it's like, it's all about me. Like, what do you do for me? Not about what can I do for you, right? To really prove themselves.
Yeah.
I think that's a problem I'm seeing a lot, because I have a lot of employees.
Yeah.
And it's rare that I get someone that tells me, Christian, what do I have to do? How do I have to do it? Just show me the way, and I'm going to bust my ass. That's gone. I don't see it as much, right? And that was me. I was like, how can I be the best assistant to my boss, right? And I remember learning as much as I could. I was there early. I was gone late at night. I took some classes, trainings on how to be a better assistant through Mike Ferry. Mike Ferry's a real estate coach. So I got involved with Mike Ferry early on as an assistant, listening to my boss being coached by someone from Mike Ferry. That's another great thing that happened when I got that job, is that I learned that there's people more successful than you that can coach you, which I was like, shit, man. So there's somebody that makes more money than you, that's willing to sit down with you once a week and tell you exactly how to do your business, and you pay him monthly. And she's like, yeah, I get coached, and they tell me, hey, do it this way, and I can make more money. And I was like, shit, man, I gotta learn this. And I asked her, can you take me to assistant school with Mike Ferry so that I can learn how to be a better assistant?
You asked your boss that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's powerful. I don't think I've ever heard that.
Yeah.
Send me to a school where I could be the best assistant.
Yeah, I did.
I've heard everything else, but I've never heard that.
Yeah, I just wanted to be better. Back in those days, I remember too, I was the guy that, even though I was an assistant, I would come dressed with, suit and tie.
Yeah.
Not suit, but tie, shirt, slacks, right? Even where other agents will make fun of me, and they'll be like, dude, why are you dressed like that? You're an assistant. You're only an assistant. And I'll be like, because I'm going to be like you one day. They're like, ha, ha, ha. Yeah, right. But people make fun of me because I would want to dress nice because I wanted to play the part.
Yeah.
Even to, I would, she'll get some beautiful listings, $1 million properties, and I would make my own flyers where I would have the picture of the house and put my own picture and put like my information and put like $1 million producer and top agent #1.
Did you have your license at this point already?
No.
So you're already declaring it.
I was already thinking in my head that I was going to be a top producing agent. I was going to be a great agent, right? And sure enough, I did that for a couple of years.
How long did it take you to get your license?
So this is what happened. So at some point, I got really good, and then I was telling them, hey, how can I help you make money?
Mm.
Like, hey, I notice you guys have buyers. Can I help you with the buyers? Can I show some properties for you? Can I, maybe write up some offers?
So you're just taking initiative.
And I'm taking initiative, and sure enough, I'm starting to slam deals, right? I'll put 1 or 2 deals together, and they're like, oh shit, Christian's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I can help you guys. And then they're like giving me more and more and more, and eventually I get my license, and I tell them, hey, can I go sell real estate now? And they're like, no, we're good.
They wanted to keep you.
Keep you as an
Where you're
assistant.
at. So there's
a really good assistant.
There's a couple of things that we glossed over that I want to kind of touch back.
Yeah.
So when you talked about being a really good employee, right? And then being a really good assistant, and then drawing out what you already saw in your mind to be, right? Where did that come from, that mindset? Because there's a lot of viewers who are watching now and saying, how do I get that? Is that something that he was born with? Did he learn that? Did somebody coach him on that? Did something happen to have him to start thinking like that?
You know what? I think it was a combination of me being involved with coaching calls through Mike Ferry. I did go to a couple of events. I'm young.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 21, 22, 23 years old. And I'm just like a sponge, right? And I didn't have that mindset like, oh, I don't need this shit. I know what I'm doing. Because a lot of early 21-year-olds don't think that.
Yeah.
I was more like, oh shit, man, this is cool. Like visualize, plan, goals, right? If you think it, you could become it, right? And I remember me starting to think, okay, I want to be an agent. I want to make big money. I want to live in a house like this. I want to drive a Mercedes. So early on, and they didn't come from my parents because, you know, my parents loved my dad, but, you know, upper middle class, always spending too much money, living paycheck to paycheck. So it's not like it came from my parents, right? My mom didn't have a lot of money either. So I think it was just going through those trainings back in those days.
So the surrounding, the ambiance,
Yes.
the people that you surround yourself, you became
Yes.
or started to think like?
Yes. Which is, I think it's the key to be successful.
Yeah.
Which is funny. But then this happened. So I asked to be an agent.
You got your license now.
Get my license. They say, no, you're good. I asked 3 times and they kept telling me no. And then eventually they're just help us, right? And I'll get a little piece of the pie. All right. So then I got tired of asking. And then I remember at one of the trainings, I met an assistant that used to work for a team of agents, 2 guys that were like 4 times more successful than the people I was working for. So like if they were doing 60, 70 deals, they were doing like 200 deals.
Wow.
And I told myself, you know what? If I'm going to go sell real estate and become an agent, I want to work for the best. Even at that age, I was already thinking that. I realized or learned somehow that by working with successful people, you can become just like them. So I didn't want to just work for anybody.
Mm-hmm.
I actually went straight to them. I knocked on the door. You can say that in a way. And I said, hey guys, I want to work for you. And they're like, we're not hiring. And I'm like, dude, I met your assistant. I know your production. I checked out all your listings. I know you guys are freaking badasses. What would it take for me to work for you? Like, give me a chance. I'll do whatever it takes. And sure enough, they hired me. They gave me 90 days. They're like, who's this freaking Mexican with an accent, right?
Ricky Ricardo.
That thinks, Rick Ricardo, that thinks he's just gonna come in here. We're fucking badasses, and we're gonna, handle your leads. And
Was there less Mexicans during that time in that office?
No. So to top it off, it's a white. Mark is white, and Al is Middle Eastern, and they're like very well dressed guys, very professional, best agents. England, Dora, all white city, right? Here I am. Right, so they gave me a shot, and I remember telling them I'll do whatever it takes. Sure enough, I remember the first 4 months working for them. I think I made like a little bit over 30 grand. Back then, I was making like 16 to 18,000 a year, full time, as a.
What year was this?
As an assistant. I mean, this would be probably back in 97, 98, maybe. Oh yeah, 99, right? Maybe, yeah, like 99. Right, so sure enough, I make 30 grand. I think I maybe did like 10 deals, 12 deals, right? My commission's small. I'm at like a 38% commission split, but I didn't give a shit, dude. I was like, dude, I was freaking the assistant running around, right, making minimum wage.
Now you're here.
To making $30,000. I didn't really care about the commission. That's another thing, I worked for those guys for 5 years at 38% commission. Right now, I hire guys right now, and within 6 months, they're like, can you pay me more? I'm like, dude, you haven't even paid the fucking price yet.
We were just having that
You
conversation.
haven't
That's
even
so important.
work your
Yeah.
ass off, prove yourself that you can go out and freaking make it,
Yeah.
and now you want more money, and you want high splits, and some of those guys have to go,
Yeah.
and then I see a year, 2 years later, they're still doing the same thing, not even making any money, because they didn't take the time to work for someone and understand the value versus the cost.
Yes.
The value is, how much am I going to learn from you, working for you for 2, 3, 4, 5 years? What is my return going to be after leaving you, going out on my own, right?
So let's play that out. Let's say
That was
you did
huge.
give somebody that high split. What happens to that person that hasn't went through the process, hasn't earned it, hasn't grabbed it? Where would that person be? What does that look like?
It takes them longer to get there if they ever get there, right?
So it's almost handicapping them. You think?
It is.
Right?
Because but let's see the reality. Most people never succeed, never advance. They get stuck. Maybe they get to making $150,000 and they're like, oh, I made it, right?
Yeah.
But they never go more or grow more because they don't go and find someone else that they can learn from, and then maybe get to $500,000, maybe get to $1 million, right? Because of the ego, or why am I going to pay you 20 or 30 or 40%?
Yeah, the entitlement too.
Of my check,
Yeah.
not understanding that, no, you're investing back on you, that in the next 5-10 years, you can make 10 times the amount of money, right?
Yeah.
So I worked with those guys for 5 years and, got, 38% commissions, but I made a lot of money. Like my second year, I think I made like 40 deals, which is my first full year.
Yeah.
Did like 30 to 40 deals. Then I got to 50. I was doing 60, 70 deals on my own, right? Slamming deals back, left and right. I was actually selling some.
And then the good market was about to come. 2003, 2004, 2005.
All that time.
So
How were you getting your leads? How were you generating all that business?
So that was the benefit of working for someone like a team like Mark and Al, was that they would feed me a lot of leads, right? Because they were big listing agents.
Mhm.
So I would take all the buyers. Okay. So then, we had listings, open houses. I would do on their listings, sign calls. We didn't have social media or internet at that time, right?
Yeah.
We had internet, but we didn't have any of the stuff we do now. But there was a lot of sign calls, a lot of open houses. I would get on the phones, a lot of cold calling, right? And I would work all their leads, all their buyers, and it's funny because I remember they were giving me clients that were like doctors and attorneys and successful people, right? $1 million properties, and I was like, oh shit, right? I'm like a Mexican guy with an accent. How am I going to be selling a $1 million house? But sure enough, after understanding that it's the same, they're just people.
Exactly.
And it's just a different value of home, but these are just smart, educated people. No different. I was very good working with any type of client, and did very well for 5 years, to a point that within a couple of years I was like, dude, I gotta make more money, guys. Give me a raise. And they're like, no, you're good. Like, people always hold you back, right? You're good, man. You're doing great. You're making a lot of money, man. You make like $200,000 a year. And I was like, dude, I gotta make more money. I'll tell you what, talk about taking the lead. I'm like, let me build you a team, and I wanna make a piece of them. I'll make 20%, and I'll coach them, I'll train them, I'll do everything, I'll recruit them. And sure enough, I was able to bring like 5 agents. I was training them, coaching them. I would get a piece of their pie. Mark and I were just kind of like overseeing everything. And
What was your why? Why did you want to make more?
I wanted to make more money, right? But at the same time, all the stuff that I went through, even though I was not making the money, it helped me, train me to then eventually going on my own and starting making a lot of money, right? So it was like a training process. So think about this. 3 years as an assistant, I learned all the back office operations, listings, buyers, paperwork, all this stuff, okay, escrow stuff. Get my license 5 years with these guys. I learned a lot about buyers, team building, management, training. I was able to train agents. I was able to lead, right?
And also get to know their personalities. Because you're dealing with people.
Dealing with people.
Yeah.
All the stuff that I never really deal with, right? That set me up.
It was all training.
To me now going in eventually on my own, and then I started my own team. To the point that on the first year, I remember the first year, full year, because we left like let's say mid-year, the first full year with my first team that we created, we made $700,000 in commissions, right? And then ever since, I've been doing a lot of sales, very successful. But I can tell you, if I didn't go through those 8 years of learning from other successful people, it probably would take me longer, right? So I always say success is contagious. Surround yourself with the right people, learn from good mentors, people that you want to be like. I just talked about this, the power of proximity, right? Power of proximity is that you surround yourself with people that you want to be like.
Yeah, Ed Milet talks about it in his book, The Power of One More.
All the time. Just be around people that are successful, and then you become just like them. And I tell you, because we have over 300 agents here, but we probably have recruited through this 11 years that we opened our company, probably over 700-800 agents, right? Because people come and go, just like any other company, and some opened their own companies, some went to different places, whatever, right? But we made multiple $1 million producers in our company. People that were doing $50,000, $100,000 a year left making $1 million. Why? Because they plugged in, they learned, they did the work, they changed their mindset, right?
Not just that, you brought in other multi-million-dollar earners. You invested. You probably make. I don't know if you make a profit from it. I did the math. You probably lose money doing those big events, or not.
Yeah, we do.
Because you bring in some big powerhouses that charge maybe $150,000 just to be up on stage.
Yeah.
How important is that for an organization?
Well, look, to me, self-development, personal development, business development, it's number one, right? You can't grow without it. So the reason we started doing, which is Success Contagious, is because first of all, we're like, dude, how do we bring the best, baddest speakers local here, right?
Yeah.
And is it even possible? And sure enough, the first one was Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
And he said yes.
You've had like 3 #1 authors.
Yeah.
Grant Cardone being one of them.
Grant Cardone,
the
was
10X.
The first one, 10X, and we had 700 people show up to that event, and he came, and
These
really,
are all everybody that was already part of your team.
So we did it for a couple of reasons. One, of course, we're big on self-development, business development, and I was a fan. I'm still a fan of Grant Cardone. Then we wanted to bring it to our agents because it's good for them to learn and grow. Yeah. And then we opened it up to the business community and real estate community so that people could actually afford paying a ticket, because to go see Grant Cardone, first of all, it's not cheap, and typically you gotta fly and get a hotel room, and you're spending $2-3 grand, right, just to go see someone.
Yeah, my wife and I went to. We were actually did it at the stadium, big stadium, when he declared that big 3-day training. Yeah. And he tells a story how he didn't know how he was going to do it, and he filled up that stadium. Yeah, we probably spent about $3-4 grand just on room and board, not to mention the tickets. Yeah. And you bring it back to the backyard and open to everybody.
90 minutes. Typically, my speakers speak 90 minutes, and it's very good topics, and then of course my agents could plug into their training. So right after Grant, we had for 1 year Cardone University in the office, and plug my agents into that. And again, my job, my duty as an owner, is to help the agents build the business. People joined us because they want to grow and learn and do bigger things, right? So I have to show them the ropes, bring them the tools, and lead by example. So Grant was one of them, and then we had Darren Hardy. Then it was Ed Milet.
The Compound Effect.
Yeah.
That's actually the book that we're reading right now in our solar business with the group. Book of the week, we call it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's a great book, and Darren Hardy is amazing.
Yeah.
And then because of that, I also plugged into Darren Hardy. I went to his. He's got this 4-day training with like 100 people, right, all over the world, and you go and you learn.
How much you pay for that?
It's like 20 grand or something.
20,000.
Yeah.
And sometimes people don't want to even pay $100 to go see these people. And you pay 20 grand.
Yeah.
Because you see the value.
Of course.
Well, I think, and I'm just putting it out there, I think what he sees is not just the value that he gets, but what can I get to
bring to the
bring
table.
it to. It's really 20 grand for an investment for all his the 300 agents plus more.
Yeah.
How big do you want to have your organization grow? 300 agents, hats to you.
Yeah. So I think we always talk about growth and for us to make more money, right?
Yeah.
There's we want to make more money. We want to grow. We want to be more profitable, right?
Yeah.
But I always talk about this. I want to make more money, but work less. So it's about working smart, getting the right people, the right team, right? And it's also for me and Jeanette, my wife, because we work together, is us becoming better business owners. And you learn, right?
So you're doing it together, you and your wife.
Yeah. My wife, she's my partner.
Powerhouse.
We're partners. We also own an escrow company.
Yes.
So, there's multiple businesses. So we have the ReMax. We have a Legacy First Escrow. We also have an investment company that we buy and flip houses. And then we have our, real estate holdings, right? We have commercial building, units.
Okay.
We have Airbnb.
How was that being in business with your wife?
It's great. We have our things, but honestly, overall, I shared this also recently. I always wanted to marry my wife for her to be my partner in business.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had that already in my mind. Talk about like the power of intention or goal setting and dreaming, right? I always thought, I would love to marry someone that works with me. Because the last thing I wanted to do is like me go to work and then, she lives at, she leaves at 7 o'clock to go work in LA or somewhere and does like an 8-hour day and then comes back and I'm like meeting her for dinner. And I was like, dude, I want that lifestyle. Like I want to make a lot of money so that, first of all, I knew that if I marry somebody, they were going to work with me and I was going to say, don't worry about work.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of men that make their wives go to work and do all this shit and maybe, they should be making more money themselves so that their wife could maybe help them with the business.
Mm-hmm.
Or freaking help them with the house, right? And the kids, because
Kids
that's already
and
a
all that,
full-time job right there.
Yeah,
that's right.
But
Yeah.
let me not get into that. But I always wanted that, and me and Jeanette met. Quick story. So I was working at C21 King in Chino Hills. She worked next door at a restaurant with her mom. It was a Mexican restaurant, and then we met. And eventually, she got her license. They sold the restaurant, and she hit me up. She's like, we became friends, and she's like, hey, can I work for you? And I was like, yeah, sure, come on over, right? Back then, I was about 30 years old. I was very fat. I was almost 200 pounds.
I don't remember you being fat.
I was fat, man. 200 pounds. Well, you didn't know me then.
No, I met you when I was like 20 years old. Oh, I didn't know you when you were 30.
When I got to that weight,
Yeah.
so you kind of knew me like between 20 and 25, we hang out, right?
Mm-hmm.
At 25, I was still partying, and maybe we'll bump into you here and there.
Yeah.
But I got into a lot of drinking and drugs, right? And then
The good life.
the good life or the bad life, right? A lot of self-destructive. So 25 to 30, I was a freaking mess. I was partying way too much, and I got to be 30, and I was fat.
Well, you were a 25-year-old making a ton of money,
I was making a lot of money.
so you were just being careless, possibly.
Spending it.
So that's key because there's a lot of people who are watching, and I've went through this. That self-destruction. You don't have to, go into too personal. But was it something that happened that caused that, or was it because there was too much too fast? Didn't know how to handle it. What was it that vaguely?
Of
That's important.
Again, it's who you surround yourself with. My whole environment was all my friends. All of us want to go party and drink. And then at some point we got hooked up with drugs at 25, never done drugs before. And then you could say I was addicted to it for 5 years. And partying, drugs, alcohol, and clubs, right? And I was making a lot of money, but I was spending a lot of money. So here I'm 30, I'm fat, and I was broke. I remember being broke. I think at 30, this is like 2007, right when all that shit hit.
Right before or right at?
Or actually, no, 2006.
Yeah, it's about to.
Is when I met Jeanette, and it was still good times.
Yeah.
So I'm making really good money, but I'm spending money like crazy, right? And then 2007 hits, and then I was pretty much broke. I remember my wife, she thought I had money because I was driving a Mercedes, top of the line CLS, but I crashed it and I couldn't even fix the fucking car, so I was driving a car with a messed up bumper. I had the Rolex, and I would dress nice, but living paycheck to paycheck. That was my.
Did you have like a CPA or any guidance on money management, or was it I'm making it? I know that it's going to be there again next month, so I'm going to spend it and
make it, spend it. Go shopping, go clubbing, VIP, this, that. You go VIP, you spend $1,000, $1,400. Do that 3-4 times a month, right? Sometimes a week. So
Yeah.
I was thinking back, how much money I was probably spending. About $10,000 a month, which is a lot of money. Think about it. Here I'm making maybe $200,000 a year, and I'm spending maybe half of it on stupid shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So.
What would you tell people that are going through that right now, what you were going through during that time?
Yeah.
What would you encourage them? What would you share with them now, forward, looking backward? What would you tell your younger self at that time, knowing what you know now?
Well, I would say, addictions, right? Drugs, alcohol is bad at any level, right? If you're going out there partying and wasting time and that, that's part of your weekly or even daily routine, and then you're saying, I want to be a millionaire, I want to make big money, I want to become very wealthy. Well, if you're spending so much time doing stupid shit, you're not going to be successful. I mean, it's not going to help you grow. It's actually going to take you away from hitting the goals that you want to hit. So you got to be healthy. You got to stay away from all those addictions. And then you got to surround yourself with good people.
Yeah.
If all your friends, all they want to do is party and go hook up with girls and do all this shit, well, that's all you're going to want to do because that's your influence, right? Mm-hmm. And if you don't want that, then you got to change that and surround yourself with good people. And that's what I did. I mean, at 30, I was like, I want to get married. I met my wife. I cut off all my friends, stopped talking to them. Not like completely cold, but not going out, not hanging out with them, just see you later. I stopped doing drugs. I had to stop drinking because I was just wild. And even my wife was like, dude, if you continue to drink like that, I'm done, right? So I went through a lot, with that. And then eventually, as I cleaned up, it was now focusing on my wife, eventually my kids, and our business.
Beautiful children, by the way.
Thank you. And that's when everything started taking off.
Yeah.
And part of that too, I got away from God, not really putting my faith first.
Did you have a relationship with God before?
On and off. I've always been a believer. But it's different believing and then doing a bunch of bad shit. And then, oh, okay, sorry, God, forgive me, right? And then you do it again next week. And then you do it again. And you do it again, right? To really, trying to, and it's not easy. I always talk about the 5 pillars, right? Always number 1 is faith. Put God first. 2 is your family. 3 is your health. Then your business. Then your financials. In that order. If you have those 3 first, and it's not easy, right? But if you work on those 3 first, then your business blows up, and then your money will blow up too, right?
Yeah.
But if you have those 3, the first one's off, good luck, because most people, that's what they don't succeed, because they're a mess, dude. There's no faith, they're fucking up with their family, their wives, they're cheating, their kids, they don't spend time with the kids, they don't have their priorities set, or and their health,
And it becomes a spiral downward.
Yeah, or bad
foundation.
addictions,
Yeah.
all that
takes
you down, right? And then how are you going to build a business if everything else is a mess? So it's something that it's hard to do. Sounds simple, but it's extremely important.
I went through something similar.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of us have our stories and our testimonies and so forth, but you did come to realization that you needed God back in your life, right? Now you have God in your life, you have your wife, right? Your kids, now your business is starting to flourish. Mm-hmm. Now from there, what were some key principles that you implemented within your business to really take it to that next level?
You know what? It was, I always been a big fan of coaching, learning from the best, right? So when I opened my company, I got involved with Tom Ferry. I was a coach for Tom Ferry. I learned how to, run teams, and I learned from other successful people through the Tom Ferry organization. And even as I continue to grow, I always been coached and always been big on mentorship, right? Even last year after COVID, I was like, shit, man, I gotta get myself to get a push. So I hired, not hired, but I got hooked up with Ken Clothier.
Okay.
And now he's my coach, and I'm part of the Billionaire Boardroom, and I'm hanging out with people that if I think I've done well, mm-hmm. there's guys there that have done 10 to 100 times better than me, right? And I'm sitting just like this, and they're telling me about what they do and how they do it and all that stuff. So I really firmly believe that you gotta surround yourself with success, right? With people that are doing better than you, and be open about it. I think there's a lot of people out there right now that the ego's so big that they just don't want to be around coaching or books or events or mentorship.
Why do you think that is?
Again, it's the ego. It's like, I can do it on my own. I don't need help.
The pride?
The pride. A lot of people have too much pride. Or they don't see value on spending, investing back into you, right? Brian Tracy says this. He says, you know, the best investment you could do is yourself, right? The return is 300%.
Yeah.
So that's the return investment on you putting back money in you. So, you know, I typically spend about $100,000 a year just on coaching and events and trainings, and dude, it's freaking worth it. You know?
And there's a saying, obviously we all heard it, everything rises and falls on leadership.
Yeah.
Do you see that the more you invest in yourself and the more that you grow personally, you and your wife, your organization starts to grow?
Yeah.
Or overflows into that?
100%. Because see, as I go to these trainings, meetings, these mentors that I have, I'm learning from them, and then they're also exposing me. See, a mentor, a coach, will tell you what's wrong with you.
Your blind spots.
Hey man, I hear what you're doing, but you got to work on these 4 things. They can see it, right? They can see it from what do you call it?
Bird's eye view.
Bird's eye view, right? Just like me, I meet with my agents, and I'll sit with them, and hey, how you doing, man? How's your business? Where are you at? Where are you struggling with? What are you working on? And I have a conversation. Within 30 minutes, all right, bro, this is what you got to do. This, and that. Stop doing that, and you got to add these 3 things. Oh, shit. If they do it, they can double their business. If they do it, right?
If they do it, yeah.
Some people are very stubborn. Even though I have these conversations with them, you know, 6 months later, hey, you doing, man? Ah, bro, I'm good, man. I just haven't done it yet. All right, cool. And then a year later, it's like, bro, okay, I finally did it, and you were right. No shit, I was right. I know I'm right because I've been doing this shit for 25 years. And I know what it takes for you to build a business, right? But, you know, so it's about you just, you know, just being open-minded to hear from others. So a lot of people don't like it.
Yeah.
Very stubborn. A lot of stubborn people out there.
So what are you up to now, and then what are some bigger goals? Where do you see yourself the next few years?
So, you know, we're growing, right? We want to take our company to 400, 500 agents. You know, why not? You know, we have the model, so we have a great culture, great systems. We just want to continue to bring a great management team to be able to support the agents. Because, you know, part of us, you know, owners, me and my wife, is finding great people so that we can give great support to our agents, right? Not even good support, great support.
Great support.
And as we find great people, then we can grow, and we continue to market to bring more agents to join our company. As we get more agents, of course, there's profit there, and then we have an extra company, so we try to see if we can get some business from our agents. The investments, you know, I'm still buying properties, I'm buying units, I'm buying commercial, so that's another business that I love. It excites me to be able to buy houses and flip them or wholesale them. So I had built a wholesale business now that I'm, you know, passing wholesale deals to some of my investors that I know. You
also came out on a pilot, right? For flipping?
Yeah, that was 2018. We did a pilot for HGTV for a show, and they air it nationwide, but they didn't pick it up. But
it will.
We're on TV, so and honestly, that's not even a goal for me to be on TV because
God's timing.
You have the personality. You and your wife.
Thank you. Yeah.
El más chingón.
El más chingón flipper. That's me.
Yes.
Yeah. No, you know, we did that, and then we've been paid to do other stuff, but it's a lot of time.
Yes.
And it's not for the money. You do that.
The passion.
You really just do it because you want to get known.
Exposure.
For the exposure. But I mean, I know a lot of people that either had a show or tried it or did it, and I asked them, like, at the end of the day, did it make you money? No. Did you get exposure? Yeah, but
was it really worth it?
It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of taking you away from
distractions.
Priorities, right?
Which
for me, you know, I always put again faith, family, my kids. You know, I got karate, I got basketball, I got freaking shit going on the weekends. So I really do put that first, and then my business revolves around my family.
You mentioned culture in your business. How intentional was creating the culture you have now, and how important is culture from growing your business to where you vision it to be?
Your context.
It's huge, huge, because you know, culture is people. You know, first of all, finding the right people to fit your culture, right? Your culture doesn't mold to everybody. You create a culture, and then you figure out, okay, do you fit my culture? And then some people are gonna love your culture, some people are gonna be like, oh, this is not for me, I wanna go somewhere else. And that's okay. But you gotta really understand what is it that I'm trying to build, what's my culture like, in what kind of people fit in there, right? And then once you do that, your culture grows, because same, if you bring the wrong people into your environment, then it's cancer that at some point, starts poisoning everybody else. So you build a culture, you bring the right people, and honestly, our culture is just simple. We're high energy, right? Me and my wife lead by example. We believe in sharing, helping each other. Success is contagious. Surround yourself with other successful people. Open door. Everybody in our office is cool. They're always sharing. They're always helping others.
And I got to tell you, your office, probably one of the nice. The other office that's, I'm going to put it out there, is Uncle Mortgage. We interviewed the CEO of a direct lender, and but your office is just very detailed, even from the bathrooms to. So even the minute you walk in here, it's like Disneyland. That's context, your culture of what you're creating in here. It's just, and I could just imagine how energetic your meetings are.
Oh yeah, man. We have music and we have lots of fun, right? Because we want to bring value, but we also want to bring energy, fun, right? We keep everything fun. We do a lot of events, and you know that. We do charities, we do the big events.
When's your next event? So that this way, more or less, when do you do your events?
So the one I would love to pitch out there, guys, is we have our poker charity event, which is benefiting Children's Hospital, Orange County.
That's the one that you had one time at our club, right? A few years ago?
Possibly, maybe.
Like 10 years ago.
Yeah, might have been, but we've been doing it for 9 years.
9 years.
9 years. It's going to be our 9th. We raised over $600,000.
That's awesome.
We actually cut money from these events, $600,000. So we're very proud of that. Last year we raised a little over $50,000 just from one poker tournament.
Wow.
And this year
you could go.
And this year we want to
I
hit
haven't touched a
100,000.
card in a long time, but if it's for charity.
For charity.
There you go.
No money, no alcohol.
If it's for charity.
So we want to raise $100,000 this year, right? We just say we want to think bigger. So we're shooting for 100,000. So if anybody would like to come, join us for that. It's going to be November, I believe it's November 11th. But if anybody wants to reach out to me, we can maybe share later.
Awesome.
But yeah, man, we're passionate about giving back and helping, and it's a fun event because it's poker, which I love to play, and then we have performers, dancing, fun stuff going on, and it's going to be a casino night too. So if anybody wants to play, some blackjack, roulette, we're going to have a roulette table, and I think what's that?
Craps.
We're going to have craps too.
Yeah.
So before we share how people can get a hold of you, very important question, last question. We save the best for last. The show is Best Version of Me. When you hear the word best version of me, what does that mean to you?
Man, the best version of me, I think what it means to me is to become a better everything every day, right? And actually, and that's always my goal. This is stuff that I do daily, and I have it written down on my goal book. Is I have reminders, right? Become a better father, better husband. Better shape. I have goals to become a better speaker, a better leader, a better business owner, right? And then I have all these different ways that I can work on becoming a better me, and actually doing it. Because everybody could say, I want to just be better, but what are you going to do to be better, right?
What actions?
I'm big in health, right? I lost about 20 pounds in the last 10 months. And I'm on a fucking mission right now to get to 12% body fat.
I mean, you look in great shape.
Thank you. I'm 47. So I kind of let myself go a little bit, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck that shit, dude. I want to be better, right? Faith. People say, I want to get closer to God. But what are you really going to do to get closer to God? Do you read your Bible every day? Do you pray? Are you going to church? Are you surrounding yourself with other people that can help you, like mentorship, right? When it comes to God, I'm a Christian, so I put that into my daily goals, right? Being a better father. Okay, what are you gonna do about it, right? So like I'm a 12-year-old. Yeah. It's been hard for me to change. Oh, you have girls too.
One little girl.
But they're younger.
Yeah.
You're gonna see what's gonna happen. But it's all good because I realize that as girls get older, they get detached from the dad, but typically it's because we're so macho sometimes, and we're just like one way, and we're not really open-minded to listening to their becoming a little woman, right? So I worked in the last year or so to just becoming calmer, not so angry, and letting my daughter be, and just letting go and not making little things big deals, right? Which I was being a little too strict with her, and I realized that I'm just pushing her away, right? So that's me becoming a better father with my daughter, right? I got a 9-year-old, same thing. I'm learning how to be better with him on different ways, not be so strict. I don't want to be that strict dad, right? So I think it's not just saying it, it's doing it. Leadership. How do you be a better leader? Are you good with your people, your employees? Do you treat them like shit? Well, if you want to be better, learn to be a better boss, right? Let them tell you, you're a freaking asshole, and then okay, shit, I'm not gonna grow.
Take it, yeah.
If my staff thinks I'm an asshole, I'm not gonna succeed, grow, right? And then I can fire you, but the next guy's gonna think you're an asshole too. The problem's not them, it's you. So how do you become a better leader? So I think it's just you becoming a better person every single day, and not just talk the talk, walk the walk. I think that's what it means to me, and it's something that is hard to do, but you just have to do it. Just keep working on you.
And how do people get a hold of you? Where can they follow you at? How do they get in contact with you? Or maybe there's some agents possibly who are watching who want to be a part of what you're creating here. How do they reach out to you?
Best way, guys, Instagram, Christian RTP. Warning, there's like 4 or 5
copycats
there. Hackers too.
Fake
I
fake
think,
profiles.
dude, I have so many right now. That's crazy, dude. I get messages all the time.
Or they could just Google ReMax Top Producers Christian Fuentes, because you're all over there. You own the internet when you plug that in.
Yeah. So if you go on Google, you find my website. But Instagram's good. Just make sure you go to the right one. And my email is christian@christianfuentes.com if anybody wants to send me an email. And
awesome. I got to tell you, the whole conversation today was just, I'm just waiting for us to get back and just implement everything. And that's what our audience has. You have a person that started from the bottom, and like Drake says, now we're here. And he's bringing it to the front of let's just call it the half a dozen things that make up 80% of the difference. And what I appreciated the most was the family talk. Because I could really see, and I follow you on social media, on how you are with your family and the activities you do, and it's like, when does he have time to handle his business? He's always with his family, and that's a powerful conversation. So I want to tell you, Daniel and I really appreciate you taking the time from your busy schedule, and I know this has been wanting to happen for a long time. We've been in communication, and sitting here with us on Best Version of Me, and we really appreciate you and what you're doing for the community, and for the home buyers, because we see it, and for the agents. And I speak from experience because my wife is part of the ReMax Top Producing team, so I really love the culture that you guys are creating.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, man.
Pleasure.
Great stuff.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right, you have it. There it is. Best Version of Me. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, follow Christian, and we challenge you to be the best version of yourself.
Amen.